Well, good evening. Good evening? I guess it is evening still. It's not night yet. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to KingPittdawg Racing. I am Kevin, and we just wrapped up Event 1 of the HECS 2024 Season 3. Nice field of cars. 15 of us in the main event. We had 7 in one class and 8 in the other, and it was pretty good racing. Had some guys dominating, which is good for them. There's going to be good tracks and bad tracks for everybody. We had Logan come in, and he hadn't raced with us in a while, but he came in and he won the 3 qualifying heat races, set fast time in qualifying, and then on Friday night, and then come in and won 1 of the 2 tonight. Steve Sanders, our defending champion, won race number 2 today. And he had finished 2nd, 4th, and 2nd, I think, before. So he started 2nd. That's our main group 2. And then Eric Carson swept the 2 wins tonight and the in the HSSSR cars, in our second class of cars. So good points night for Eric. Him and Adam shared wins in the qualifying heat races on Friday night in the HSSSR cars, the second class of cars. Adam took away 1 victory and Eric with 2. So 4 victories in this event for Eric and 4 for Epic Logan. So good night of racing, good field of cars. Everybody did well. I think we had a couple of little miniature incidents. I will review all of that and just check and make sure everybody was okay. We did have a little bit of an issue with one of the cars getting ghosted and coming back out on the track. So we'll figure out that. I still really don't want to add ghosting in there, but one of them got reset right in the middle of the track while other traffic was coming. And again, we're dealing with the glitches in the game, so we're just going to have to deal with that. Unfortunately, that is just going to be part of the racing. No different than if a car swung off the track and then came back in the middle of the track. And we saw that happen at Daytona to the Vassar Sullivan car, where the one car got loose in front of him and turned right in front of him. He had nowhere to go and just blasted the front end off it, and they were down several hours to get that car fixed back up. They still ended up with coming back out there and getting a decent finish, but that's just the nature of racing. I want this series to be as real as possible. So what is this video going to get into? We're going to get into the cars we're running next weekend. And again, this is a very special race. My dad was a huge NASCAR fan. I myself am still a NASCAR fan. I don't follow it as religiously as my father did, but I do make sure everything's recorded, and I do try to watch all the things. But my father passed away in December, so this is going to be an annual thing to kick off. We'll do race weeks here at Daytona in the HECS, my series, my invitation series, and we will be running the race that we just ran, the 2 for 124, every year as our kickoff race. 2 classes of cars at Daytona, and it's going to mimic the 24 hours at the Rolex 24 at Daytona. And then we're going to have the 400K, the RJP Memorial 400K. This will be, in essence, the 400-mile race from the summer, the night race at Daytona. We're going to run it as the beginning race, and it's going to be dedicated to my father's memory as a NASCAR fan. So the most NASCAR-like race, I wanted to run that in honor of my father. So what have we done to try to make cars? Well, we've developed our own cars because the game does not have NASCAR-style cars. So we've developed what we call the Cup cars, and that's KupKar. And there is an acronym for that, but I'm not going to get into it. KupKar RacecaR, that's just what we're calling them. Again, capital K-U-P, capital K-A-R, RacecaR, capital R-A-C-E-C-A, capital R. So the KupKar RacecaRs, what I wanted to do, I'm limiting it to the cars we can find in the game that are naturally aspirated, front engine, rear wheel drive V8s. So there's about 5 models you can choose from, but with some limits to the game, there's only certain things we can do to those cars. So I'm going to go over and we're going to build 2 of the cars that I don't have more than 1 of, which I've been building prototypes since last year. So I've got I think 3 or 4. I think I've got three Camaros, 4 Mustangs, and then I've got 3 or 4 Crowns. We're going to start off here with the BMW. I'm going to go buy this car. Now, you can buy this car in Used Car Center, I believe still. We're going to check that right now. It may have sold out. In fact, I don't even see it in here. Nope, there it is right there. We'll build this one right here, because just to show you that you can build it on the cheap here. This one's got 51,000 miles, so probably not one I would actually do this. Let's just real quick go over to Brand Central and see the difference in the pricing on these. Again, we're taking a regular stock car and making a race car out of it. So there's some limitations in the game, but there's also a lot of things we can do. So we're technically building a car somewhere just between the Group 3 and Group 4 cars. So 93,000. In fact, I'm not even going to take the chance since that thing's got 51,000 miles on it. We're just going to build a new one. And I would suggest that ain't worth 23,000 credits for what it is. Let's go with a more BMW-like. Let's go with something. I think I've got, this is the one I made the car out of. Let's go with this kind of goofy-looking graphite. That looks pretty good, actually. So we'll go graphite here on this one. The other one I have is that other black that I didn't know how to pronounce it. All right, so you buy the car. So once you've bought the car, the first thing you want to do, because we're making these race cars, is we're going to go over to GT Auto, and you're going to set this car up as a wide body. And that's all of the Cup cars. All of the builds on all of the Cup cars are exactly the same. We also have a lower tier of cars called the HSSSR cars. So it's H, 3 S's and an R. So it's H for Holiday, now we're rebranded to the Hobby E-Racing Challenge Series, HECS, stock, specially modified, spec race car. So HECS, stock car that we're specially modifying to a spec race car. Okay, so that's the HSSR cars. Those cars have a lower limit, but right now we're concentrating on the Cup cars. So let's go into GT Auto. Again, all of the builds are the same. There are a few differences, but all the body builds are going to be basically the same. So we're going to start with wide body. That's the first step in all of the cars that we build, including our Craftsman trucks, which are just the Ford Raptor and the Tundra that we've made into race trucks. So that's step 1. Now I do spec a wheel for these cars. So it's the BBS racing wheel. And we're going to go right in there to BBS so you can see right where it's at. Oh, shoot. I didn't move over first. You got to move over here to customization. And we're going to stay in here until we're done here. So wheels, again, BBS, and it's the racing wheel right here. And we want 18-inch if we can get it. I think there's one car that we can only get to 19-inch, but 18 inches is our spec wheel, and we want it wide. Okay, so there now we've got our BBS racing wheel. Again, that looks just like the NASCAR racing wheel, only it doesn't have the single lug. But all the cars in this, when you go to pit, they use a single lug duplication, so you can pretend it's on there. Custom parts, we want to go in and we put all of our aero stuff. We want the most aggressive aero stuff we can get. So we want the front splitter, the lowest side skirts that we can get, and then the rear diffuser style bumper. Again, this is just like the NASCAR build on the NASCAR cars. And then the wing, because we want them all the same, we're just using a custom, medium, and then we're using the 22M plates because it pretty much has a little bit of everything in it. It's got some flat, it's got some angles, it's got some curve. So we're using that one just because it kind of universal to all the cars. And it's easy to remember 22 over like 18 or 15 or 23. So medium 22, all cars, all the cars that we build. When you're building the HSSRs, there's some exceptions for the hatchbacks, but it's going to be something that looks very similar. And I think it's usually type B on the hatchbacks, but sometimes they only have the one option. So those are in a whole nother video. There's a whole video. There's several videos on HSSRs. If you want to build one, go to the build HSSR, the video that says how to building a HSSR. We'll build several in there and then also go over the settings. So we want to make it look like a race car, so we're going to add hood pins. You can use whatever you want. I prefer these kind. I just think they look a little more modern. Tow hooks, type B is what I prefer. And then any car that you can put a roll cage in, put roll cage type C in. And you can see this isn't costing me anything on this car because I've already built this car once. We're just building it again. So other parts, light bulbs, I always use the very bad dad joke, make the super cool like me. I would pick the brightest lights because we will be running these cars at night. We want to get rid of the front plate and put the A-type rear plate, and that's for branding because I'm going to give you guys a plate to put on the car. There is no grill, but then the caliper color will come up automatically. We'll leave it at its default red at this point for this car. So we let that apply, and then we're going to go over to the tuning shop, and we're going to basically make this a race car. We've already added the aero stuff. Now we're going to actually make this thing a race car. So the spec weight on the Cup cars right now is 2,804 pounds. So we're going to go to that, and then we want to get this thing to about 517 horsepower on this BMW. Okay, weight reduction stage 2. I think every single Cup car needs at least 2 weight reductions. So we're going to go do that. You're going to need a power restrictor because we are going to build this engine. And then we're going to need ballast. Okay, so weight reduction, power restrictor, and ballast in screen 2. And then screen 3, this is our trifecta that is in every single car. The fully customizable computer. Whoop. Got a little ahead of myself there. The fully customizable LSD. And the increased body rigidity. Now, looking at the weight over here on the right, we are at 2,919 pounds. Again, we're trying to get to 2,804 pounds. So weight reduction stage 3 on this vehicle. If we're building an M303 and building a hisser, we're going to put a fully customizable manual. That is the main difference, along with the brakes, that separates the two different cars other than power. So this is a naturally aspirated V8, so we are going to add these things, and these are basically spec items. Racing air filter, racing muffler, racing exhaust manifold, racing brake pads. We're going to skip over the brake kit in here, and we're going to go racing clutch and flywheel, fully customizable suspension. Again, we're making a race car out of it. Brake balance controller, which was optional last year and is now required. I buy all 3 tires. You do not have to. Because medium is our spec tire. So if I was you, I'd get medium and softs and do the mediums last, and that'll be your default tire automatically. You don't have to change it. This car, again, what differentiates it as far as spec goes is this one requires a fully customizable racing transmission. And we're going to take a step over to the Extreme. The only time we'll buy anything in the Extreme on both the Cup cars and the Craftsman trucks is to get this carbon ceramic brake kit. Okay, there are some exceptions on the hissers. I think there's 1 or 2 exceptions where we have to get into building the engine way over, so we have to go up here. But the Cup cars, we are going to stay under the ultimate category. So now we have our Cup car built. We've put our performance mods. Now we've got to get it in the spec. Okay. So we're going to go into car settings. Oh, I'm sorry. You know what I didn't do, and I apologize. I got ahead of myself. I built so many of these cars, it's just like muscle memory now. Okay, so now that we've got the car built body-wise and everything else, we're under the weight, we've got to get the power up. Now this car, if you notice here, this engine starts off as a 3.999 or 4-liter engine. Okay, and it's got 470 horsepower, 320 pound-feet of torque. So we're going to add everything to this engine. We're going to add... we got to go back to the Club Sports. Here we go. Okay, so we're going to start on the left on Club Sports, and we're going to go bore up. High lift camshaft. Actually, you know what? Hang on. I'm going to have to go verify that. Racing crankshaft. Again, we're trying to bump up the torque on this one. So we're going to do stroke up, engine balance tuning, polish ports, and I believe that gets us everything we can get. I don't think we add these 2. No, we do not add these 2. I think either one of these help the torque at all. Let's see. Okay, high lift camshaft. Yeah, see, no torque addition there, so we're not going to do that. And then the high compression pistons. That would give us a little bit more torque, but I don't believe I have this on the build. So we'll go look in the settings and verify that. But again, I can't remember everything exactly on these things until I actually build them. So let's take a look at the car settings and go over here. We did use high compression pistons. So, okay. So we're going to go back and get that. So for the BMW, again, I'm pretty sure it's everything under the Extreme that we add. Oh, I just went in the garage again, didn't I? Down and over, Kevin. There we go. All right. All right, so we are going to use the high compression pistons. That gets us to 357. Yep, and then that's all we have until we get up here. So, yep, that is it. Okay, so that should be where we need to be on our build. Now we're going to go set the car up. So we're going to go to car settings. Our spec, I'm just going to go over to Aero right away. Our spec is going to be 70. So we're going to go up here to 70 on this, on our Aero, and that's because we're matching all the cars up. So 70 and 150. And that is the minimums on other cars. So we're setting it to the bare minimum on that matches all the cars up. All right, body height adjustment. I do know you can go, having run this, you can go 5 over. I am actually at 6 on my setting. So body height you can adjust. I would like to see the roll bars at either 5 or 6 because there's no middle numbers. The damping ratio and compression expansion, I'd like to see those on the center sliders. This is going to be our version of BoP on these cars. We're not going to really adjust these things on the cars. I don't want, especially here at Daytona, I don't want cars bouncing around. So be really careful with your ride height when you're practicing. And make sure you can almost take all the camber out. I actually took all the camber out of this car when I drove it, and it drove fine. And then we're going to take any toe out. Again, you want a high-speed race track like this, you want to try to get that car as little drag as possible. And I will tell you that we are allowing between 310 and 350 on the gearing on the cars. 310 seems to be ideal for this car. And Zippy and I both ran it in some practice. So now you can see we have all the same things installed as we had on the other one. So we have built our second KupKar race car BMW. And that is it. That is it. Again, you can adjust settings. If I go back in here, you can adjust your ride height. You can adjust your roll bar between 5 and 6. You can adjust your negative camber angle, your toe angle, your differential. Again, that'll be more important on road racing. At this point, the spec on the downforce on the cars is the same between all the cars, and that's 70 and 150. Our ECU is going to be at 100, and our power restrictor will be on this one. We're going to go, I think it's 92. No, 93. Yeah, 93 on this one. And then our ballast to get our 2,800 pounds, I think it's like 40. Yeah, I think it's 46. Yeah, no, 48. Okay, 48 on the ballast. We were experimenting, and I think here at Daytona you want to leave the ballast up front. You don't want to move it. You want to just leave it in the middle. So I would leave the ballast at 0. You can experiment that. You can move that if you want, but it seems like this car handled extremely well, and it was pretty fast. So I don't think you're going to need. I don't think you're really going to need to be trying to trim this thing out too much more. I was running 211 miles and 212 miles an hour in the draft in this car. So it cruises. All right, so that is your BMW. And I'm just going to go by manufacturer. So that's your BMW. That's a full KupKar build. And you can do what you want with the liveries. I may have you add stickers later on. Like I said, make sure you get that license plate type A. Unless you've got a specific license plate you want for the livery, then just let me know you're doing it so I can build a car that way. One of my prototypes, so that when testing, I can make sure we give you the right settings and we know exactly how to balance the car out. So it's a good looking car. I think it makes a pretty good looking race car. Looks kind of similar to the NASCAR cars. So let's go into our Camaro prototype. And this is the one without the livery here. And I'll just review everything on this one for you. I have 3 of these. But this is the settings we were working on last night. The Camaro, again, one thing about the Camaro, you're going to go in and add the front splitter, the side skirts, the rear diffuser, and the rear medium wing 22. But the Camaro, for some reason, doesn't let you put a roll bar in it, which just blows my mind. It's crazy how they figure stuff in this game. So this one, I was safe at 108. And then the roll bar, again, you can set 5 or 6, 30, 40, 225, and 240 on the natural frequency. I zeroed everything out on the camber and toe. Again, the difference isn't going to make much difference here. just like all the other cars, 70, which is the minimum here on the Camaro, and 150, which is, I think, the minimum on the Mustang GT350R. So the ECU is at full control computer, 100% output. Ballast is at 35. I've got this pushed to the back. I think I'm going to move it to the middle because everybody was driving faster with it in the middle. And then the power restrictor at 100. The Camaro, I think everybody was saying either 3, it's going to be personal preference, but we're going to limit you to 350 or 310. This thing's way out of its league at 310. I think 340 and 350 is going to be the one. I think everybody was running 340 on this that were running fast with them. So, again, no engine mods, but you are still going to have your weight reduction stage 1, 2, 3, your increased body rigidity, which is basically what makes it a race car, is strengthening up that center section of the car and the torque box area. So that's what the increased rigidity is. That's going to be much better for you race car wise and ultimately make the car last longer. So there is your Cup Car Race Car Camaro. And that, again, 516 horse, and we're at 2,804 pounds. So I'm not going to go into the full build. You can see the splitter on the front, the side skirts. You can see the wheels. Again, they're 18-inch wide offset, wide tires. All right, so now on to the next one. And the next one in the list is going to be the Ford Shelby GT350R. We did have the Mustang GT built, but it just can't keep up. Actually, this thing doesn't keep up. So at this point, I'm setting the room to 555 horse, and if somebody wants to run this, I'll let you have the 552 horse, but for some reason there's a glitch with this game, with this car, and it just doesn't make it go fast enough. So what I did do on this one, it is a 5.2 liter. We put a racing crankshaft in it. We may give it a little bit more horsepower and then restrict it, because it is restricted. What I may do to try to increase this thing, but I'm going to do some testing on that. At this point, this is the settings if you want to run the Mustang. Again, I can run it at, I think, 92. Nope, 91. Okay, you're on 91 on the ballast. And then again, here at Daytona, I would run this thing in the center just to keep the weight off the back, because the car's going to land in the corner. It's going to want to push on the back on the high banks. Again, weight reduction stage 1, 2, 3, increased body rigidity, like we said before, and racing crankshaft on this, and then we'll run it at 91 at this point. Realistically, looking at this car, looking at the power and the fact that it's got 447 pound-feet of torque, or foot-pounds of torque, it should be more competitive than it is, but it just can't keep up with itself. Even getting drafted, it doesn't run very fast, and that was running this thing at like 320 on the gear. So yeah, it either runs out of RPMs or you just can't get it to build RPMs with what we got set. So I'm thinking I'm probably going to let the power bump up and then we'll restrict it. We probably just need to get the torque number up to around 500 where the Camaro is. But we'll keep working with it until we make it work. If somebody wants to run this car, I will give you all the bonuses in the world on it. So if somebody's willing to help develop it and run it and see if they can do it, I will help you try to make this car better. If we may allow like engine balance tuning, polish ports, and then the titanium connecting rods and pistons. I don't think I'll bore it up because it's already like the second largest engine. So at this point, we'll just do the extraneous stuff. So, but right now, this is the settings. This is the numbers. If you want to run it, let me know, and I will have you help me develop it. But I've got 3 of these to develop, these GT350Rs. And again, the Mustang GT, we can't even get it close. So we'll keep messing with that one too. If somebody wants to drive that one, we'll probably fully build that engine just like we did the BMW, and then restrict it. For the GT if you want to run the GT. But this GT350R, this is the settings in it for now, and we'll keep working with it. So that's that one. Now, we're going to build another one because I want to build another RCF, which I don't have. So I'm going to go ahead and we're going to go out, go to Brand Central, buy an RCF, and I'll show you another quick build. And I'm not going to spend as much time on this one because this one doesn't really require any engine mods or anything. So this one should be a little faster. You just go buy your Lexus RCF stock car in the showroom, and it's the first one up. And we're going to just go with the blue one. Okay, so here's a second build, and I'll tell you that there's really hardly any differences at all in these cars, but this one requires very little done to it as far as engine work and stuff. So this one already is, I think we do the, and I'll double check that before we go build this car, but I think we actually do a bore up or a stroke up on this one. So real quick, I'm going to switch over. Oh, that's not what I wanted to do. Guess my cursor wasn't where I thought it was. Oh, there it is right there. All right, so this one, yeah, bore up and high compression pistons. Okay, that's what I did, just to try to get some more torque out of it. And again, this one's still down on torque compared to the other cars. So let's go back to this one and build it. And this is the RCF 2014. And this is the heat blue contrast layering, the 3-stage blue that I use on a lot of my Toyotas now, Lexuses. All right, first things first, just like all the other ones, we're going to build a wide body car. So wide body that. All right, so there's your wide body, and then we're going to go in and put the spec wheel on it. Give it a chance to upload there. And again, easier. The reason I do this, it's just easier just to go in you get all the car customization stuff done first. Again, wheels are, and 19's the lowest we can go on this one, so we'll use 19's wide. So that's your basic wheels and tires. Then we're going to go and put the front splitter on, the side skirts, the rear diffuser style bumper, just like that one right there, Type B. And then the wing is a custom wing set, and again, it's medium 22. That's our standard wing on all the cars. Unless it's the hatch and the hissers, and then we'll go over that. You can go see what ones I pretty much show every single car. So if you have any questions, reach out to those videos or reach out to me, and I'll steer you in the right direction. Okay, so tow hook or hood pins. I like the new modern ones. I like the solid tow hook on the cars. It just looks a little bit more like, I don't know, professional. Another one, we can't put a roll cage in for some reason. Light bulbs, again, you want the brightest ones you can get. License plate, put the one in the rear only. That opens up your grill for cooling. Nothing you can do on a grill on this one, but the caliper color defaults to red once you put the performance brakes in. So now, again, it's going to be the same build as the other ones, but sometimes you have to just, I guess, optimize the car. So first thing we're going to have to do is in screen 1, the sports screen, is we're going to do weight reduction stage 1. This car's still at 3,300 pounds. So we're going to go into the second one. We're going to use weight reduction stage 2. Power restrictor and our ballast, which just helps us set to spec. And then we're going to get fully customizable computer, fully customizable LSD, and our increased body rigidity. And then, of course, our car's still a little heavy, so we're going to have to go weight reduction stage 3. And now we're under the spec, so we need to, we'll need to add weight, which is what we want. Racing air filter, racing muffler, racing exhaust manifold, racing brake pads. And again, we're going to skip over the racing brake kit and go over here and buy the carbon ceramic brake kit for the Cup cars. And again, that's the big difference between these and the Hisser cars. Racing clutch and flywheel, fully customizable suspension, brake balance controller, fully customizable racing transmission, the other difference between this and a Hisser car. And then I'm going to buy all 3 tires. You don't have to. I would suggest softs and hards. I'm sorry, softs and mediums, because medium is our spec tire. And again, that's just that medium gives you the best balance of raceability and tire wear. All of our rooms are going to be set by default to 3 times 4 times. I'm sorry, 3 times tires, 3 times tire wear, 3 times fuel consumption, unless it's a special event, like we just finished our first event, and that was 4 times 4 times tires and fuel consumption. So this one at Daytona for the tri-oval is going to be 3 times tires and fuel. And there will be 6 times event speed. All right, so what did we do to the other one? We wanted to kind of increase the power by torque. So we did bore up. That gave us a little bit more, and then I think we did racing. It wasn't racing crankshaft, was it? I'll have to go double check. I think it might have been balance tuning. All right, let's go double check because I don't want to make sure we build them the same here. Everything looks the same when you get in there. So it was bore up and high compression pistons. Okay, I think they were the two right next to each other. So we'll switch back to the blue one, the one we're building. And then we're going to go get those high compression pistons in the tuning center. There we go. And that gives us 450 foot-pounds of torque. Now, we could add a racing crankshaft. In fact, we may do that on all the Cup cars, just because I think it would make it would raise their red lines in that. And then engine balance tuning. We might do that on all the Cup cars. But again, we're getting into where we're dealing with the differences between these engines and the fact that we're maxed on the Toyota Crown. So I'll go over the Crown build here after this one. So that should be everything we need for our Cup car RCF. So we'll go into settings. And again, we're going to set this. We got to be really careful with the ride height on this one. We're going to set it at 101 and 136. We're going to add the sway bars to max at 6. We're going to put all of this stuff on the center slider. That's our spec. Now you're going to be able to set your, once you get all of these, the shock settings set. We're gonna take everything but 1.1 camber out of the front and 1.1 out of the back. And then we're going to take this toe down to 0. And the reason you're getting that camber in there so it doesn't rub, because if the wheel's straight up and down, the way these fenders are shaped, if you look over there, they got like a flare out on them. So they're going to rub, and that was what was keeping us from being able to steer this car in the corners. This one, I think the setting on this car is 350 or 340. And you can do either one because this one has 7 gears. So you can do what you want. But again, we got to be 50. There's our minimum on this one. And then 150 on the rear. I'm sorry, it was 70 and 150. So 70 and 150. All the cars are going to be the same there. All the cars are going to be the same weight. And all the cars are going to be in similar power. So now we got to ballast it up to 2804. I think it's 32. Oh, maybe it's 38. Yep. 37. Okay, I was close. And power restrictor, now we're going to go down to 517. I think it's 94. Nope. 92 on the restrictor. I think that's exactly the same as the Beamer. So there, we've got our bore up and our high compression pistons. And that is our settings for our Cup car RCF. And I need to set, now I got a new settings sheet. We need to edit that, and it's going to be Cup car, race car, Lexus. Alright, so there's our settings. Again, you can mess with the camber angle and the ride height and the toe angle if you want. But these things need to be pretty much set to where you're hitting the 2804 and then the 517 for the horse. Top speed, again, you can adjust it how you want. 350 is the max high speed. 310 is the max low speed. That should get everybody where they need to be. And you can see we're at 712.34, so we fit under our 717 performance point limit. So there is your RCF Cup car. Now, the most complicated one to build is this, the Crown Athlete G. Now, this car is easily built as a hisser and as a Cup car. So this one here, the Crown Athlete, this one, again, starts off just like all the others. There's one difference that we got to do, though. If you look down here, it says engine swap installed. The engine swap is the Lexus SC430 engine. I'll go over that when we get into the details screen. But it's about a 500,000 credit swap. So be prepared to spend the money if you want to drive this car. It's a very good car. It's a very good car to drive. But do that and then do your wide body. And now we've got ready to do the rest of our build on our Crown. And again, wheels, I've been kind of paying attention to see if the wheels here, yeah, 19-inch, we could do 19, but we're going to do 18 just because that's the spec as of right now. We may change that to 19. I think the 18s look better. So at this point, it's 18-inch on all the cars, or as close as you can get. So the cars you can't get to 18-inch, you can use 19-inch. So again, we add our front splitter Type B, our side skirts Type B, and our rear diffuser, which is the Type A in this particular case. You can see the rear diffuser style bumper. And of course, we got our wang, and it's a medium 22, as you can see. Now ignore that hisser decal. I was using this. We were using this thing for artwork because it was about the only flat panel I could find on a car was that trunk lid. So I didn't realize I saved it there. So again, we're going to add some hood pins. Whoop. Type A. Okay, I was going to say, I've got my laptop's in my way. I can't really see the bottom of the screen here, so I'm kind of leaning around it. Again, the car customization, I like to see the Type B tow hook, the metal one, and then the roll cage. This car can get a full roll cage, so that's what we need to put in it. And then again, your light bulbs, your license plate. This thing doesn't lose the panel in the front, so if you want to keep the one in the front, that's up to you because it just says Crown Athlete. But I put this one in because again, we're going to have a KupKar logo, and we're going to put that on the license plate. Unless you have a license plate, then we'll use it like a sticker somewhere. So caliper color, this one I put blue on just because it was the car has some blue on the accent on the front nose there. So you can do whatever you want with caliper color to fit with your livery. That doesn't matter. So I'm going to show you the differences here on the Crown and why it's different. So we've done our engine swap, our wide body, all of our cosmetic stuff, our wheels, and then we've done all the miscellaneous little bits and pieces. So in the tuning shop, this car, there's not a lot we can do to this one because with the engine swap comes other things. So this is why we had to build the KupKars around this car. And again, we were trying to do the Mustang Camaro and Camry. This is the closest thing to a V8 Camry we can do, and a front engine rear drive with V8. So weight reduction stage 1, weight reduction stage 2, power restrictor and ballast, fully customizable computer, fully customizable LSD, weight reduction stage 3, and our increased body rigidity. Again, we got to stiffen up the torque box area of this car to make it a race car, in addition to our roll cage. If this was a hisser car, we would not have this 3UZ FE SC430 engine swap. That's why it's green. V-type, 8 cylinders, naturally aspirated. And then this engine, basically, we're limited. As you can see, stroke up, engine balance tuning, polish ports, anti-lag, racing crankshaft. None of that stuff is available. That is all included in the engine swap. In fact, the only thing we can add to this is racing muffler. Our racing brake pads, ignore these because I was originally going to build a hisser out of this car. Carbon ceramic brake kit is what differentiates this from the hisser, along with our fully customizable suspension. So don't forget, even with the braking kit and the carbon, you still need the brake pads, brake balance controller, racing clutch flywheel, and then there's our fully customizable racing transmission. That's the other difference between this and a hisser car besides the engine swap and the brakes. So again, I got all the tires I needed, and there's your carbon ceramic brake kit again, and we don't use anything up here in this area. We couldn't anyway because none of it's available in this car. So again, we're building the series around the specs of this car. And this is a good car for the series. It's kind of weird because it's kind of luxurious inside, but that is the Crown, and it has a pretty good numbers, and it drives pretty good. It has 8 speeds in the racing transmission form instead of 7 where the hisser car has. So I think that is it We'll go into the settings now. Car settings, again, this car, there's not a lot I can change on it. This car you can run pretty low. I've got it 5 over the bump stops. We're going to be at 5 or 6 on the anti-roll bars. I think Daytona you're going to want probably kind of stiff. Damping ratio, again, everything's going to be set at the center sliders. Okay, you can set your negative camber angle. I did put a little camber in this one just to keep it planted. 70 and 150 on the downforce. And then everything is, there's no ballast. We can't take any more weight out of it because there's no more power weight reductions available. So we're stuck at 2804 as our weight for the class. And again, this one runs good right around 330 is what I found out. So that's what the settings would be. There's that if you want to take a screenshot. And then again, that's the HECS TRD KupKar RaceCar. So that is all 5 of your builds. I will go into the Mustang here just to show you. Actually, we already did. Where's the Mustang GT? I was going to just go into the Mustang GT just to show you the difference there. And these are the HSSR versions. You see the power, 254. Again, HSSRs are 250 to 255 horse and 2,800 pounds and under 616 on the numbers. So let's find our Mustang GT. Went through a lot of cars here, so it's going to be down here farther. We're still in HSSRs. There's our Craftsman trucks. There's the Mustang GT 2015. Okay, so this one again. We have tried to nerf this thing, tried to get it up in power. We're going to put our medium tires back on just so you can see what the difference is. I didn't really run this one at Daytona, but we added bore-up, engine balance tuning, polish ports, racing crankshaft. And we've got it restricted right now, but what we could go up as much as 560 horse. I don't want to have to do that. The room I'm setting to 550, so we could possibly 555 is what I'm actually setting it at. So yeah, this one you could do 550 on. And again, Daytona, the settings, and we'll probably keep them as the standard settings, are going to be 70 and a minimum of 150. So that'll be the standard settings on all the cars. Again, if we decide to let the horsepower go rip up on this thing, we may be able to get it to match up. This one I think actually might have a little bit more torque than the flat plane crank V8 that's in the Shelby. Those are different displacement engines. So there is your KupKar race car. And again, there's the logo we've been working on. It's a little too complex right now, but we'll get one and then we'll put it on all the cars. But at this point, that is all of the KupKar race cars. Again, I would probably stick to away from the Mustang, but if you're willing to drive the Mustang, I will give you an advantage. We're going to bump up the horsepower, and we're going to keep the weight the same. So I guess I should set this one's weight since this is my prototype. I should set the weight on this one at the 2804. So let's see where that's at on this one. Let's try that. 30. It's going to be 29. Okay, so 29 on the ballast there. Again, for Daytona, we can move this to the middle. And that gives us a 697.82 performance point level. So there is your Mustang GT 2015, the S550 model Mustang. Again, we're going to take tow out of it here for Daytona. Probably forever, actually. We're going to take this all the way down to 0.5. And probably eliminate it because the car actually drives really straight. It's just, it just is planted, but it just can't quite build the power for some reason, the speed. And this is a slippery body on these things, so I would think that it's just a glitch they've got, something with the way they figure out the performance points. So, but we're dealing with a electronic computer algorithm with this stuff, so we just gotta roll with what we can get. So that's everything for this video. If anybody has any questions or wants to race with it, we have a slot or two left. There are some people that aren't going to be able to run the whole series, so So we're looking for alternate drivers. We'd love to have a full field, especially here at Daytona with all these Cup cars, because this will be fun. It'll be like pack racing. So I think that's it for this one. I'm going to go ahead also while we're in this stream, and we're going to jump over and I'll start the lobby for you. And that way you can take the settings if you want to do some single car practice or practice with a friend or two. So we're going to set it up for practice races. So that's how I'm going to have it set up. We'll come in maybe Tuesday and Thursday and do some practice races, and then Friday night we're going to do our qualifying in the Craftsman trucks and qualifying heat races. So I will do an individual video on the Craftsman trucks as well. And again, this race next weekend, 3 qualifying heat races. The qualifying and qualifying race 1 will be in the Craftsman trucks. And then the qualifying heat race 2 and 3 will be into the Cup cars, so we can get our final tuning in on those. And then the final the final day of racing is going to be Saturday night, and that'll be our main race. It'll be based as one race. So it will be stage racing. The lobby will be set up as 3 races, but the first 2 will be scored points as first through 10th will get 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 points. So this is our practice lobby. It's set for 5 minutes auto start, 5 laps, custom weather, 4 times. This should actually be 6. Let's fix that. This will be a night race. Overwrite. And we're just going to call this practice because I got too many. Because the Craftsman trucks will be the exact same specs. So, all right. So everything's going to be set up. It'll be at night racing. We're going to just leave it at S11 right now. This will be a rolling start. We're going to invert the field for practice, so the slowest ones will be up front. Real slipstream, no boost, visible damage on, mechanical damage, 3 times tires and fuel, full max fueling rate, 60 seconds, real grip. Again, everything I do is as realistic as possible. We're going to put the PP limit at 717, max power at 555 at this point. Actually, we could give the Mustang a little bit of a break. Let's just do 560. We'll reset that. Usable tires, mediums. There would be no reason to run softs here because mediums are going to have less rolling resistance. And then we're going to be just on mediums. Whoop. Required type is mediums. No nitrous. Engine swap has to be set to unrestricted for the crown. And tuning parts have to be set to unrestricted so we get... well, I guess we can do extreme and lower. Yeah, because we're not going to do anything in the top tier, so we'll do that. And then no penalty settings, no ghosting, no flag rules, no pit road lane cutting. And so be careful when we're racing. Okay, no limits on the assist. You can do what you want. Again, we'll save settings again. Overwrite. Okay. And that is all good. And we're going to create the room. So we'll leave it open here for about... I'm going to leave it open for about a half hour. And then we'll close it up and end the night out here. So that's it for this video. I'm not going to leave it up here during practice. If anybody has any questions, you can reach out to me, and directly I will be posting everything up for the cars. So we'll see you around. I'm not going to live stream the lobby here, but I am going to go into the chat if anybody wants to talk to me or has any questions. It looks like Freddie's going to come in here and run some practice. I'm not actually going to run any practice, but I will leave the lobby open. So that's it for this stream. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you around next time. Don't forget, we'll be popping on for practice, and I'll keep a live stream up during that, so if anybody has any questions, we need to set cars, we can do so. That's it. Until then, until next time, KingPittdawg. Oh, by the way, don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and you'll know when I'm on. So thank you again, everybody, and we'll see you around next time. Until then, KingPittdawg out.